The problem with this cluster is that we don't have full information of who are the customers, where they have been to, and where they are now.
To ring-fence the KTV cluster, those who visited KTV lounges at the same time as confirmed cases will be required under the law to get tested. Good evening, you're watching The Big Story, coming to you live from the Straits Times newsroom. I'm Haryanto Diman. You can subscribe to the Straits Times channel so you never miss a single episode. 32 more COVID-19 cases have been linked to the rapidly growing KTV cluster. Now this brings the total cases to 120, making it the largest active cluster in Singapore currently. Sharing updates in a virtual press conference earlier, the Multi-Ministry Task Force said that the figure is expected to climb in the coming days. To break potential chains of transmission, the Health Ministry is aggressively ring-fencing potential new cases through the use of safe entry data. MOH will be sending SMSs to individuals depending on which ring they fall into. An SMS that says health risk warning will be sent to those who have been identified to have visited KTV lounges at the same time as a confirmed case. These individuals will be required by law to get tested and self-isolate until they receive a negative test from their first PCR test. Another SMS that says health risk alert will be sent to those who have visited the locations where KTV lounges are located in. These individuals are not subject to actions required by the law. However, they should monitor their health and limit their interactions with others for 14 days.
The challenge of this cluster, unlike clusters in a mall or in, say, Bukit Merah, where we know who the tenants are, who live in which blocks, and we can mount a geographical testing exercise and test everybody within that geography. The problem with this cluster is that we don't have full information of who are the customers, where they have been to, and where they are now. It's hard to gather them together and to mount a special ops. But nevertheless, as you can see, the 4 rings, we are doing, MOH is doing whatever we can to aggressively trace and test them. Notwithstanding that, we should expect to see many more cases emerging in the coming days.
The task force will also be taking a differentiated approach to the tightened measures with more relaxed measures for vaccinated people. For dining in, group size will be dialed back to 2 people for those unvaccinated. But fully vaccinated people can continue to dine in groups of up to 5 at F&B establishments that have systems to check vaccination status. Unvaccinated people with a valid negative pre-event test result or those who have recovered from COVID-19 can also join in the group of 5. Children below the age of 12 will be allowed in the group of 5 if they belong in the same household. If not, they should make up not more than half the dine-in group. Now, in summary, only those who fulfill the following criteria can continue to dine together in groups of up to 5. These include fully vaccinated people, recovered patients, those unvaccinated but with a valid negative pre-event test result for the duration of dining in, and children below 12 years old. But as hawker centres, food courts and coffee shops generally do not impose mandatory safe entry check-in, group sizes will be limited to 2 people, regardless of one's vaccination status. Meanwhile, all nightlife establishments, over 400 of them that had pivoted to F&B outlets, will have their operations suspended until July 30th. These establishments will be individually notified about the suspension. During this period, all staff of these places will be tested and safe management measure protocols will be inspected. These measures must be properly implemented before they are allowed to resume operations. Vice President of the Singapore Nightlife Business Association, Nathan Thiagarajan, joins me now. Welcome to the show, Nathan. Nathan, SMBA has had ongoing discussions with its members since the KTV cluster emerged. Can you share more on their reactions?
Yes, I think when the case started early in the week, we've sent a circular out to all our members, and we've had some general inquiries coming in. I think the sentiment on the nightlife section, especially those that have pivoted, there's a lot of anger and disappointment. What has caused this outbreak from a few errand operators, and this has set back a lot of our plans to safely work with the authorities and to resume business in a very, very safe manner during this pandemic period. However, this has set back our plans quite a fair bit.
Nathan, Minister Lawrence Wong said, quote, "The onus is very much now on the Nightlife Association and its members to show that they can get their act together." What are the plans that your association and members have?
Yeah, so I can understand the minister's tone that's taken, because this is a serious issue. Just to put things into perspective, the Singapore Nightlife Business Association officially has about 300 members. During the COVID period, we were asked to step up to lead the program for exit grants and for pivot plans. Now, in that pivot plan, there's 400, not all our members, especially those that are from the KTV section. But we are in charge of the pivot plan, so we facilitate everyone that's in the nightlife sector. So out of that 400, you have about 60 KTV operators that are in this pivot program. And there are also family KTVs in there. So this is about 15% of all those that have pivoted. But, when you look at errand operators, maybe you can go as high as 20, but we still have 80%. That we believe are doing well, and that we've got to continue supporting them because they've got businesses to run and they've got their staff and Singaporean jobs and livelihoods to protect as well. So I think moving forward, obviously, we'll work with the agencies and the authorities closely, but we will work very closely with everyone in the pivot program to make sure that, everyone is clear on the SMMs. And we'll do our best to try and make sure that errand operators do not get onto this program.
Right. And talking about errand operators, Nathan, help us understand how much control, so to speak, does SMBA have over KTVs? How far can your association go in monitoring that outlets don't flout the rules?
Actually, based on that question, we have very little control. The KTV themselves have a KTV association that was set up perhaps during the COVID period. SNBA is more established. We've been around 7-8 years. And the nightlife sector is a very, very big sector. Now, in this pivot program, besides 15% being KTV, you've got a small percentage of nightclubs, there are discos, there are bars, there are pubs. There are a lot of other variations into that. So our control, KTV specific, is not there. It's not present. We do work with the KTV associations when something comes up. And in this case, because it's the pivot program, we will be in the front line and supporting the government and the authorities to see how we can quickly settle this issue and try to get the good operators back into the program 2 weeks from today.
Right. Nathan, of course, earlier on, the task force is coming down hard on nightlife sector, mainly on the KTV as well. Our colleague David San spoke to people familiar with the KTV scene who said hostess services will only move underground. How can SMBA work more closely with authorities to make sure enforcement is better, since we've seen that regulations alone aren't sufficient?
I think the SNBA's relationship with the agencies and the authorities are very good, very strong. This COVID period has stretched us 1.5 years now, and it's not going away anytime soon. We're working towards endemic. We're looking at businesses and livelihoods, like I said again. So our relationship and our working format is good. Now, as far as activities going underground, we are prepared, if approached by the authorities, to share any information that any of our members can provide. However, that lead has to come from the authorities, and we are always present to help in any way we can as an association.
Well, thank you so much, Nathan, for your time and for coming on to the show. That was Nathan Thiagarajan, VP of the Singapore Nightlife Business Association. Meanwhile, the task force also shared other updated measures. Outdoor mask on and mask off activities as well as indoor mask on activities can continue in groups of up to 5 people, in classes of up to 50 including the instructor. This is regardless of their vaccination or test results. For indoor high-intensity mask-off activities, the group size will be cut back to no more than 2 people in classes of up to 30, including the instructor, without the need for testing or vaccination. But if everyone in the class is fully vaccinated, a recovered patient, or has a negative test result, these activities can continue in groups of up to 5 people. Work from home will continue to remain the default arrangement, but social and recreational gatherings at the workplace will be disallowed. And there are no changes to wedding receptions. They will continue at the current group size of up to 5 people per table without the need for all to be fully vaccinated. There will also be no change to the pre-event testing requirement. The 32 new cases linked to the KTV cluster form part of 53 new locally transmitted cases confirmed today. 24 were linked to previous cases and quarantined, while 20 were linked and detected through surveillance. There are currently 9 unlinked cases. There were also 8 imported cases. In non-COVID-19 news, a 43-year-old man has been charged with murder for his alleged involvement in a fatal stabbing in Sumang Walk near Punggol Central. Heng Boon Chai is accused of killing Kim Wee Ming outside a flat on the 6th floor of Block 326A 2 days ago. Heng will be remanded for psychiatric observation and his case is adjourned to August 6th. In a separate incident, a 39-year-old Vietnamese woman was also charged with murder today following a fatal attack on a 52-year-old man. She allegedly killed Choi Wang Kyung along the 5th-story corridor of Block 562 Ang Mo Kio Avenue 3 early yesterday morning. Her case is adjourned to August 6th as well. The case of a man allegedly involved in the 2019 Lucky Plaza crash that killed 2 women has been adjourned for a pre-trial conference on August 20th. Malaysian Chong Kim Ho was early expected to plead guilty today, but no plea was taken as he had disputed certain portions of the court documents. Details about the disputed parts were not revealed in court. 20 armed robbery cases in the Singapore Strait were reported in the first half of this year, for 4 more compared with the same period last year. But this is more than half the total number reported in Asia, despite an overall improvement in Asia waters. The authorities said an area of concern is a cluster of 16 incidents of Tanjung Pergam in Bintan, Indonesia, where 5 incidents were reported last month alone. It's amazing what technology can do these days, blurring the lines between the digital and physical world, but sometimes it can be a little spooky. Take a look at this video.
What's up, TikTok? Got a little tip for you. Call it a tip talk. If you don't have earbuds, okay, it's hard. It's hard to talk on the phone. It just keeps on falling out. So go old school, analog. Just get it involved. You got to plug it in. It's not wireless, but it's the better way.
Don't worry, Tom Cruise has not joined TikTok. The clip was actually generated by artificial intelligence, and the creator of the Deep Tom Cruise account has been completely open about what he does. But there are many other videos that create situations which never happened in real life. Known as deepfakes, such videos can potentially be problematic as they make it harder for viewers to sift out the truth as they proliferate through the online space. And to combat such dangers, an international competition to identify deepfakes in audiovisual media from genuine content, organized by AI Singapore, is underway. Participants will be given a set of original and fake videos, and they will then be required to build AI models that can estimate the probability that a given video is fake. The winner will receive $100,000 in prize money and a startup grant of $300,000 to develop the solutions further. Those who come in second and third will also win prizes and startup grants. Well, here to share more is Professor Ho Teck Hwa, the Executive Chairman of AI Singapore. Welcome to the show, Professor. The competition aims to encourage AI enthusiasts and researchers around the world to design and test models and solutions that can detect modified audio and video. Professor, tell us, how prevalent is the danger of deep fakes?
I don't believe there are comprehensive statistics on how prevalent deepfake content is. However, a recent Forbes article mentioned that at the end of 2019, there were 15,000 deepfake videos online. That compared to 9 months ago, there were only about 7,500. So it's almost double the numbers. Also, more locally, we have a NTU study that showed that 1 in 3 people who are aware of deepfake evidently share those deepfake video with their friends and colleagues. So I want to highlight important facts that while the incident is not very prevalent at this point in time, it will be actually prevalent in the future because we see a big growth in the last 2 or 3 years. I also want to mention that the implication for deepfake is very, very, very profound. There are 2 kinds of deepfake. One is the case where a real video is actually interpreted as fake, or the fake video is interpreted as real. So both have bad implication for us. First, let's look at the case where the video is fake, but the people think it's real. And we know there are cases whereby people engage in violence because of deepfake videos. That's one case. Another case I worry about is also the fact that let's say there's a national emergency, there's a real content, real video, but people think it's fake. They do not respond to it, it will be disastrous for the country or community.
So, Professor, in light of all these dangers and problems that you've mentioned, how would this competition help in the larger context of combating deepfakes?
So I would say, first, I think it would generate a lot of awareness among our community about deepfake videos. Also get people be interested in AI. I think that's a very important first step. The other thing is this, that in this particular contest, we actually make it Asian-centric. So the video contents are all either produced locally or produced by people in the region. These are all relevant for our community, and that's an important thing that we want to move forward, because many of the deepfake contests is done in the Western country or in China. And the third thing I want to actually emphasize is very important, that we are pursuing Singapore as a global AI hub. We're trying to use this challenge to work with people globally, and at the same time attract them to Singapore so that we can then make ourselves a global AI hub for innovative AI solution and innovation.
Well, thank you so much, Professor, for coming on to the show. I've been speaking to the Executive Chairman of AI Singapore, Professor Ho Teck Hwa. For those who are interested to take part in this competition, you can submit your code and models through this website. Submission is open till December 15th. The top 3 winners will be announced in January 2022. Visit straitstimes.com for more news and videos, and remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel by hitting the red button below. I'm Haryanto Diman. Stay safe and see you next week.